For the last 7 years, I've been creating a vision for my year every single year, just as I've encouraged you to do the last few weeks in the, podcast episodes. And it's a different experience every year. I never know what's going to come out of the process. And so today I'm going to pull back the curtains behind mine own Create Your Vision experience and share what I am going to be working on in 2024.
Hi, I'm Jessica Jackson, and this is the new way to thrive in motherhood by leaning into who you are, what you love, your unique family situation and personal mission to create a life that you actually want to live. I want to invite you to join me in saying no to the life of the exhausted supermom, burnout, victim thinking, being pulled in so many directions, suffering through survival mode, or being lost in motherhood, and say yes to building strong families and moving forward on our greatest goals in order to create a fulfilling life that we are excited to wake up to each day and become a soaring mother. This is the Thriving in Motherhood podcast.
If you haven't done this yet, you can get access to the Create Your Vision Challenge either with your Thriving Mother Planner purchase. It comes with it and it's in the workbook pages are inside it. Or you can go to thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/vision and do just the get just the workbook. Like if you already have a planner that works great for you, awesome. And then there's a mini course that goes along with it where I coach and guide you through this entire process. Now, one of the things that really surprised me as I went and reviewed last year, as I mentioned previously, is that so many things were going well in the moment that I didn't recognize in the moment. And so I want to change that. One of the ways I talked about was with my phone, but what really stood out to me was just that one of the areas and kind of groupings of things that I did for my actual vision this year is things that I want to invest more in, like investing more in the things that are working. So, I mean, if you have a financial investment and it's giving you dividends, it's returning income to you, then you want to keep putting more money into it. And so these are different areas in my life where we invested into last year, and I'm recognizing that they were really meaningful. They brought joy, connection, and I want to keep pouring into and investing in those this year very intentionally because we did loads of things, but these are the ones that I felt like bore the best fruit. So the first thing is growing a garden. Now, in the moment, I felt like we failed. Like when I was reviewing my year, it's like our garden failed this year. And the reason why is because we planted so many tomato plants and then we went on our big road trip right before they were ripe. And by the time we got home a month later, they had died because of lack of rain and just the deer got to them. And so then we had a second round of plants that were just like starter plants. And then they were so close to being ripe and made it, through October, but the frost came. And so we didn't get a single tomato plant this year. And so I thought the garden failed. But when I was reviewing my year, I realized we harvested carrots for the very first time. We had beets that did well. We had so many zucchinis. I was giving zucchinis away left and right. Strawberries worked and grew this year. We had potatoes for the very first time. We grew potatoes and they did phenomenally well. And it was so fun. It was like digging for gold. We had a blast with those and they tasted delicious. Cucumbers did great. Anyway, my point is that our garden did well. And so I want to do it again. And this time, like in the past, I've always just had seeds that are like left around or friends give us or what, like just, I don't know. They just it's just a hodgepodge. And this year, the thing that I want to tweak is actually go on sooner rather than later and order some seeds that look fun to me that I want to try growing. Okay, 2, family adventures. We did some really cool things last year. And one of the highlights was hunting with a red-tailed hawk that we did after, if you heard the book that my family my favorite books from last year, I mentioned on my side of the mountain. And we've read all 3 books in that series now, just while we were driving around in the car doing our regular errands around town. And so I called a local falconer and we went hunting with him and his bird, and it was incredible. It was so fun. And we also did things like Jamestown Historic Heights, and we went into a gold mine that we have nicknamed the Mold Mine because there was a lot of mold in it, and my kids kind of got freaked out. But anyway, we went into an old gold mine and just, I don't know, we did things. They tried kayaking and they learned how to swim this summer, and these new experiences that we had together and the places that we went, like that were new, that just, again, something that our family really enjoys. It brings us lots of joy. And so I want to keep investing into that and spending some time and energy, doing the research and then going and doing. Friends over for dinner or for meals in general, just having people over to our house. We did that quite a few different ways last year, and it kind of felt like we weren't. And then when I look back, I realized we did have quite a few people over, and every time, like, it just gave us all a spring to our step for a couple more days, and people weren't complaining as much about homeschool when we had friends over for dinner, on Sunday, and we were able to just gather and talk and the kids play. And so, or sometimes we played music, like, I don't know. It brought joy. It was very meaningful to us. And so that's something we want to continue to do. And it also just helps us feel more connected out and about in our community and our church congregation when we've taken time outside of those spaces to develop those relationships. Okay, we love hiking and time outside. And I feel like when people are grumpy, we go outside. I've been saying that for years. I've been doing it for years. We do it every single day with our daily walk. That's been like an ingrained habit in us for a very long time. I used to just go by myself every day, but I just realized there's no this is so healthy and it's so good for me. I need to bring everybody along. So we're doing that every day still, rain or shine. We love it. But also hiking. Like, if we are grumpy, we go outside, everyone's just immediately happy. My kids I've got some kids that maybe struggle with each other, but they are best friends when we're on the trail. So doing more of that. And then we cultivated relationships with our siblings, Andrew and my siblings, this last year, and they did with us. We just had so many different experiences. We had some of them come stay with us at different times during the year, which was so fun. We loved it. And we had a bunch of experiences with my sister getting married this summer, and I spent time with my siblings flew out by myself, which is very rare. As in, it's the only time it's happened, but it was so fun. And anyway, so just finding ways, even simple things, I don't know. This is my vision. I'll figure out the specific steps, but that was something that was really meaningful. We want to continue to invest in those. Okay, projects this year is another group. So that was my investing well. Now there's just projects that I want to look at tackling this year. So the first one is building a rock climbing wall. We've been actually slowly piecemealing this together. We're going to probably build it in our garage. There isn't an awesome option in town or one that's accessible or open very often. And this is something that my husband loves to do, my kids love to do, and I love to do it as a teenager. My body doesn't handle it so well anymore, but I'm very supportive of this activity. The next project is planting fruit trees. We actually currently have a peach tree and an apple tree in our yard that were here when we moved in. We also have blueberry bushes, but the sun does not hit them correctly, and I don't think that they're a great variety for where we're living. And so they have not really been successful in any way, shape, or form. And so I want to do a lot of research about where we live, what type of trees grow best here, what are disease resistant, because one of them is super disease, and the peaches get moldy right before they ripen, and they just fall to the ground. It's really sad. So I want to figure out what's disease resistant, what grows well here. And that means learning things about figs and persimmons and I don't know, stuff that grows well in the South. And then where in our yard we'll grow it. And then we have a serious deer problem. So I know our front yard gets the most sunlight, and they would technically do great, but I need to have a deer protection plan. And then raspberries. We've planted, like I said, we've got blueberries that grow not great, but okay. Yeah, not great. They don't go great. We get a couple every year, but they're in the shade, so it doesn't work. And also my kids just don't love them as much. We planted some blackberries and they're okay, but our favorite fruit, our favorite berry is raspberries. And so I want to find a place and get them established so we can start getting a crop of those regularly. My daughter loves herbs and has really, I don't know, I've always been interested in them, but her love of them is just propelling me forward. So we want to start a culinary and medicinal herb garden. We've learned a lot, but I don't know, it feels like I need a database to organize what grows well, what we use, where it needs to be, what's perennial, what's annual, what's going to come back, what's not. I don't know. I feel like I'm learning a foreign language. So working on that. And then we have a fence that got damaged, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago when there was the hurricane. We live far enough inland. There will never be a hurricane that touches us, but the after effects did. And a ginormous tree branch dropped and smashed our fence to smithereens. And we've never fixed it, which sort of doesn't matter because we are just backing up to woods, except that it's a free pass for all those deer to come in. So I need to I don't know, figure that out. And then my final project is writing and publishing a book this year. That's something that I've been wanting to do for years, and I feel like it's rising to the top of my list. So I don't know exactly how it's going to fit in or when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen, and it's going to be about this motherhood and I don't know. Anyway, I'll share more of that as it's like going, but it's coming. It's going to come. So then, business goals. Actually, no, let me skip something else here. So then I think the third envelope or umbrella, not envelope, or envelope, both work. Okay. So we've got things I want to invest in, projects I want to accomplish this year. And I feel like some years I'm way more project heavy, but we have made a ton of progress on projects for our house. Like this last year, we did a ton of work. Like 2 years ago, we did a ton of stuff downstairs, or even 3 years ago, like we've already like updated and done a bunch of stuff in our kitchen. We've painted almost the entire house except this room. We've added trim work and I don't know. We've done loads of house projects already. So I feel like those are coming to an end. And also my desire to do them is dwindling. Like as my kids get older, well, this is what I realized. When my kids were younger, it was an amazing way for us to do things with them that we enjoyed, and they were highly involved. They loved being with us, and so it was like a really positive family activity. As my kids have gotten older, what we were reflecting on this year is that what it means is that my husband and I are doing the project. My big kids are off doing whatever they want. My little kiddos, like the younger ones might still be involved and interested, but it's just adding like one more thing on top of our plate. And then it's like they still have their own list of all the things they want to do. So instead of being something that's like a good use of time that spends it, like we're spending it all together and doing things together, it's just starting to become one more thing. And so even though we're good at it and we enjoy it, anyway, we're starting to phase out. That's probably more than I needed to know. So less of those. Okay, with that being said, kind of the word for the year that I have is like back to basics and being consistent in the basics. It's not a word. It's just a general feeling, but that's what I want. I want to go back to the basics. And what that looks like is, and this is kind of my goal for my business, but like in business systems, there's a wonderful team here at Thriving in Motherhood. I've got 3 other wonderful women that work with me behind the scenes. And so thank you, Whitney, Danielle, Avery, for being here. But like I can do a much better job of setting up systems so that things go smoothly. So that's something I want to do. When it comes to home management, we have made so much progress. And if I looked back to where I was even a few years ago, like so much progress. We simplified our home. A lot of those daily things are happening well, like getting the daily stuff's happening, tidying up and doing our kitchen, keeping the kitchen clean and dishes and making meals is pretty good. However, I've also been experimenting and making lots of progress with assigning certain tasks to certain days. When we're cleaning the bathroom, when I'm tidying different zones in our house, and cleaning them, when we're doing deep cleaning, when the laundry is getting washed and folded and put away, did I say the bathroom's getting clean? And then also I want to simplify meals. Like I've always been good at meal planning and cooking meals, but I feel like I need to, and I want to just streamline it a little bit more. Especially so my kids know what to expect and we have an easier way to have them start kind of taking over, because right now it's just always in my brain and they don't want that and I don't want that. So working on our meal system. Taking care of myself is another area when I just want to go back to the basics, and also my relationship with God. Like that makes a huge difference in how I'm feeling day to day, and I want to do that plug for Mom Matters 2 community, which I am. Anyway, that's going to be amazing. I just finished putting together the workshop that comes with that starts with like all the principles that you need to create a habit that sticks and will work for you as a mom. Like it's completely customized to mom life. And then second, the first month's habit, which I'm really, really excited about that training. So you can join us if you would like, and also want to go to the basics of taking care of yourself while still having loads of time for your own vision, because I never want to usurp that. Okay. And then also, just really continuing to go to the basics of having people over and investing in the community around us. But so home basics, taking care of myself basics, investing in other people in our home community basics. So that is, I don't know, that's kind of my vision. That is my vision for the year. I feel like I have lots of blanks and I don't know what's coming, and I don't know, like I just don't know how this year is going to unfold. There's a lot of things that we do have on the calendar, we know are coming with like certain children and some bumps along the way, but I don't know. It's As someone who has moved year after, like I moved all growing up. I went to 10 schools before I graduated, and Andrew and I have moved countless times. We've lived all over the U.S. together. It's just, it's like a little bit disorienting just staying in one place. We're like going into our 4.5, almost, we've been here for like 4.5 years and we haven't moved. And so just being like, oh, okay, so this is what happens when you don't move. It's like, it's a learning experience for me. So I still feel like a little bit unsettled because normally it's like, okay, then we're going to pack the boxes and we're going to find the house and we're going to move and we're going to start all over again and we're going to unpack. And so I still feel like a little bit unsettled. And so creating a vision feels a little bit different when it's the same place and you have extra capacity that's not going into moving. So I'm sure there will be developments in this. I totally reserve the right to change my mind and add to it or take stuff away, which is why we have the quarterly reviews, because then I get to evaluate in 3 months how things are going and what I want to change and what I want to add and what's working, what's not. But this is a good starting place and it'll help give me focus to my days and help me know where I want to, I don't know, in my monthly planning and weekend planning, what I want to start slotting in. I think another part that is going to be really of my planner that I didn't use a lot last year, but I'm really excited to use this year is the quarterly spreads. What this is I call it the sandbox. And so I just have every quarter here spread out, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, with kind of this grid and a big box on the side. And so I feel like, especially with figuring out like my family adventures and when I want to plant things and when we're going to do road trips and just how we're going to spread all of that out, that it will fit. Anyway, that will just be a really useful tool for me to kind of map out that, and also like how often we're having people over for dinner. And figuring out how many hikes we're going on, because I feel like I just have such a short-term memory and it's hard for me to tell like the gap in between. And so I'll either like do too much and burn out, or I just want to pace the adventures this year, pace the investing and the cultivating over the year. So that's that. If you haven't yet, create your vision. It is so impactful because now I have something else to do besides watch movies and scroll social media and hide from my kids. Like, now I've got something to be excited about. Now I have something that we can work on together. Oh, and let me also point this out because it's something I talked about last week. But a good chunk of these, almost all of these, I can do with my kids. The rock climbing wall can do with my kids. Planting trees, I can do with my kids. It's something that I will want to spend time researching on the computer without anybody around, but the shopping we can do together, buying things we can do together. And even now that they're getting older, some of them can be around and help me look through those things. Fixing the fence, I don't know whether we're going to hire that out or do it ourselves, but that will be, either way, we'll all be watching. And then the hiking time, having people over, going on road trips, the family adventures, growing a garden, that's all family. That's all family things. Writing a book is something that I'm going to do, is like the thing this year that I'm doing that's brand new, totally scary, by myself. So like that's the thing I'm going to fill in the cracks of my day. And so as you look at that vision, and home management is also like something that I'm going to be filling in the cracks of my day. Taking care of myself, something in the cracks of my day. But lots of other stuff involves everybody and doesn't require me to have a special carved out time just for me. So I would say that's like a good, check to put in on your vision. And then the other thing is just like, I've got lots of domains that I'm investing in. Things for my family, things for myself, and things for beyond, for out of our home. And you don't always have to do that, but I feel like it's like a nice year when all three can happen. And every year cannot be that way. There are some years when you're in survival season and it's just you and your family and you're just holding on, and that's great. That's totally fine. But this year it's kind of fun to recognize that I've got all 3 domains there. So, okay, have a great week. Have fun making your vision, and I will talk to you again next week.
Today, I'm excited to share with you about the Made to Soar Next 90 Days program. It is a self-paced online course with lots of interaction from me that has transformed the lives of women from all around the world as they have learned to build unique family systems that support them in their own unique life circumstances, that allow the necessary and essential things of life to get done and leave time and energy to do what matters most to them. I'm going to let some women who have been through the program tell you a little bit more about their experience now.
Just mucking through the day was just survival. And then it was like the thought of trying to do anything extra was like, well, that's just never going to happen.
I think with Made to Soar, I don't know, I was probably hoping that it'd be the magic bullet for morning.
I mean, we had no systems in our house. I mean, we had no routines. Like we were.
How can I infuse meaning into my life? And even if I do the same thing, how can I think about it differently so that I'm feeling fulfilled?
And so that was my goal in joining the Next 90 Days, was to figure out how to kind of handle all of these different domains. How do I become intentional with all of these things and make sure that I'm meeting my own expectations?
Now I have systems set in place that, like, you know, things like the laundry are just automatic, things get done.
Because I was able to have the foundation of some of these systems and routines, when things got crazy, I could still go back to those and be like, okay, well, at least the laundry got done. At least my kids got fed. At least I read the Bible and did my workout today.
So it helped me go through a couple big moves and big changes and to keep some level of stability for the family.
Figuring out how do I homeschool? How do I do it with consistency and some level of discipline? And then how do I build a business and still find meaningful work outside of my home? All of that, I wouldn't have known how to organize it. It was all kind of just like spaghetti in my brain.
With Made to Soar, just gaining clarity about what I wanted my days and weeks to look like, in my hours and my spare minutes.
This is how we get to where we want to go, and just changing those expectations has helped me be happier.
You know, I have power to change my circumstances, right? That I can put in new routines. I can solve some of these problems. I can think about things differently and realize that I have power to be in a better place.
Where you are planted, watch the blossoms grow.